Every single day, hundreds of millions of drivers around the world pull into their local gas station. They watch the numbers on the pump climb higher and higher, grumbling as $50, $80, or even $100 is drained from their bank accounts for a single tank of fuel. To the average consumer, the gas station owner looks like an untouchable oil baron, sitting on a gold mine, raking in massive fortunes every time global crude oil prices spike. But behind the flashing price signs and the constant stream of vehicles lies one of the most brutal, low-margin, and counterintuitive financial paradoxes in modern commerce. The shocking reality is that the gas station owner down the street makes almost zero profit from the actual gas they pump into your car. In fact, on a generic 10-gallon fill-up, after credit card fees and government taxes are cleared, the station owner might walk away with less than 50 cents of net profit. If a driver fills up their tank and leaves without buying anything else, the gas station actually loses financial ground against its daily overhead. How does an industry that moves billions of gallons of essential energy every single year survive on margins thinner than a razor's edge? Welcome to BizBlueprint. Today we are going to reverse engineer the financial architecture of owning a gas station, dissect its massive upfront infrastructure investments, explore its highly volatile operating costs, and uncover the brilliant convenience store funnel that turns cheap fuel into a highly profitable retail empire. To truly understand the economics of fuel retail, we must first shatter a massive public misconception. When consumers see a gas station with a massive corporate logo like ExxonMobil, Chevron, Shell, or BP, they assume these multi-billion-dollar oil conglomerates own and operate that specific station. In the global market, especially across North America and Europe, this is almost completely false. Major oil companies completely spun off their direct retail operations decades ago because managing individual convenience stores is a low-margin, high-headache operational challenge. Today, over 60% of all gas stations are owned by independent single-store operators or small regional franchise groups. They simply pay a recurring licensing fee to use the big oil brand's logo and are legally bound by supply agreements to buy that brand's fuel. This independent landscape operates within an incredibly hostile macroeconomic ecosystem. The retail gas market is perfectly transparent, which is a nightmare for pricing power. Unlike a restaurant or a clothing store where prices are hidden inside, a gas station is forced by law to display its commodity price on a massive, illuminated sign visible from a mile away. If the station on the left charges just 2 cents more per gallon than the station on the right, consumers will instantly alter their behavior and pull into the cheaper option. This hyper-commoditization means gas station owners are permanently trapped in a race to the bottom, where they cannot raise prices to protect their margins without losing all their volume. To stay alive while selling a product with almost zero pricing power, operators must run a highly calculated, multi-tiered corporate balance sheet. To see how this high-wire act is set up, we must look into the first pillar of its economic blueprint, capital expenditure, or CapEx. In traditional retail, opening a storefront requires leasing a commercial space, putting up drywall, and buying point-of-sale software. For a gas station, initial capital expenditure is an incredibly heavy, high-risk barrier to entry because you are dealing with hazardous materials, environmental regulations, and heavy industrial machinery. To construct a standard, modern gas station with 4 to 6 dual-sided pumps and a medium-sized convenience store, an independent operator faces an initial CapEx deployment ranging from $2 million to over $5 million. Let us break down exactly where this capital is allocated. The first major CapEx drain is environmental infrastructure and underground asset acquisition. A gas station cannot exist without underground storage tanks, or USTs. These massive, double-walled fiberglass or steel tanks hold tens of thousands of gallons of highly flammable fuel beneath the concrete. Purchasing, excavating, and installing a set of 3 code-compliant tanks costs between $250,000 and $500,000 alone. The second major category is high-throughput fuel dispensing technology. A single modern, digital fuel pump integrated with credit card chip readers, outdoor video displays, and vapor recovery systems costs anywhere from $15,000 to $25,000. Multiply that by 6 fuel lanes, add the heavy canopy structure overhead to protect drivers from the weather, and the fuel dispensing footprint requires an easy $300,000 capital injection. The final and most critical allocation of CapEx is the convenience store building itself. Station owners quickly realize that the pumps are just a visual billboard. The real business is the retail square footage inside. Building a modern convenience store shell, installing commercial-grade walk-in refrigeration units, setting up hot food preparation kitchens, and implementing enterprise inventory tracking software consumes the remaining $1 million to $2 million of capital. Furthermore, because gas stations rely entirely on highway traffic patterns and easy commuter access. Developers must deploy premium capital to purchase highly competitive corner lots. If an operator chooses a location with a low traffic count or difficult turning lanes, the entire multi-million-dollar asset becomes instantly unviable. Zara uses premium real estate to elevate fashion branding. A gas station deploys premium real estate because a commuter will never make a U-turn across 3 lanes of traffic just to buy gas. Now that the multi-million-dollar physical asset is locked into the ground, the independent operator enters a daily volatile operational nightmare. In the gas station industry, operational expenditure, or OpEx, is divided into 2 brutal battlegrounds. The crushing fixed costs of staying open 24 hours a day and the hyper-volatile variable costs of purchasing wholesale fuel. Let us first dismantle the variable cost structure, which represents the primary source of anxiety for any station owner. A gas station operates on a high-frequency supply chain. Depending on volume, a busy station must purchase a fresh delivery of 8,000 to 10,000 gallons of fuel every 1 to 2 days. The price the operator pays for this delivery is called the rack price, which is determined in real time by global oil markets, OPEC geopolitical decisions, and regional refinery capacities. This creates a terrifying cash flow dynamic. When global crude oil prices spike suddenly, the wholesale rack price surges instantly. However, because of the hyper-transparent price signs we discussed earlier, the independent owner cannot raise their retail pump prices immediately. If they raise prices too fast, local drivers will instantly boycott their station and drive across the street. Consequently, during a massive oil price spike, a gas station's already microscopic fuel margins are compressed to absolutely zero, or even drop into negative territory. The station owner is literally losing money on every gallon pumped, praying that wholesale prices stabilize before their working capital reserves are completely wiped out. Conversely, when oil prices crash, wholesale rack prices drop faster than retail pump prices. This temporary lag is the only window where gas stations make a decent margin on fuel, often reaching 20 to 30 cents per gallon. But this window is always brief, as local competitors quickly cut their pump prices to chase volume, dragging everyone back down to the margin floor. Beyond the volatility of wholesale fuel, the station's fixed daily OpEx is a relentless cash drain. Operating a secure, brightly lit retail facility 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, consumes an immense amount of energy. The electricity bills required to power massive canopy lights, heavy outdoor fuel pumps, and rows of walk-in commercial coolers inside the convenience store can easily exceed $3,000 to $5,000 every single month. Furthermore, because gas stations are high-risk targets for armed robbery and fuel theft, operators must carry exorbitant liability insurance premiums. This is coupled with the cost of continuous labor. Running a 24-hour store requires a minimum of 3 shifts daily. In developed global markets, rising minimum wages and payroll taxes have driven labor OpEx to the point where an independent owner cannot survive by simply having an employee stand behind a cash register. Every hour of employee labor must be hyper-optimized to generate retail sales inside the store. If a staff member is just watching the fuel pumps instead of stocking shelves or prepping fresh food, the station is actively bleeding money. With fuel profit margins permanently suppressed by hyper-competition and volatile wholesale OpEx, how does a gas station turn a massive profit? The answer lies in a complete inversion of the consumer's perception. A modern gas station is not an oil business. It is a high-margin retail convenience store that uses cheap fuel as a massive psychological loss leader to capture consumer foot traffic. To understand the monetization matrix, we must look at the data breakdown of a station's revenue streams. On a standard corporate balance sheet for an independent station, fuel sales represent roughly 60 to 70% of total top-line revenue, but contribute less than 25% of total gross profit. The remaining 30 to 40% of revenue comes from inside the convenience store, but that indoor retail space generates over 75% of the station's actual net profit. The fuel pump is simply a visual funnel designed to do one specific thing: force a human being to park their car, step out of the vehicle, and walk through the convenience store doors. Once the consumer crosses that retail threshold, they enter a world of masterfully engineered cross-merchandising and extreme margin expansion. Let us look at the specific asset classes inside the store. The first major indoor margin engine is the beverage station, specifically hot coffee and fountain soda. While a gallon of gasoline has a gross margin of roughly 5 to 8%, a 15-ounce cup of premium brewed coffee or a large fountain soda operates on a staggering gross margin of 70 to 85%. The raw syrup, water, and cardboard cup cost the owner pennies, but they sell it for $2 to $3. If an operator can convince just 10% of their outdoor fuel customers to walk inside and buy a coffee or a cold soda, The profit from those beverage sales will instantly dwarf the profit generated from the hundreds of gallons of gasoline pumped outside. The second major indoor revenue stream is the packaged goods and tobacco sector. Packaged snacks, energy drinks, candy bars, and tobacco products are deliberately arranged using high-density impulse buy shelf mapping. The items are priced at a premium compared to traditional supermarkets because the consumer is paying for immediate availability and speed. The classic convenience premium. Furthermore, modern stations have aggressively expanded into the fresh, hot food vertical. By offering proprietary breakfast sandwiches, hot pizza slices, and rolling grill items, stations can capture lunch-hour commuter traffic, extracting gross margins of 50 to 60%. Finally, stations monetize auxiliary services with near-zero variable costs, such as automated car washes, air pump stations, lottery ticket commissions, and high-fee independent ATM placements. The gas station owner treats your car's fuel tank as an entry ticket. The real monetization happens when they feed your biological cravings for caffeine, sugar, and salt. We have reverse-engineered the heavy structural assets, the volatile daily cash burn, and the brilliant convenience store funnel. Now we arrive at the cold final evaluation of the gas station balance sheet, the net profit margin profile, and the high-stakes breakdown of the break-even mathematical limit. In corporate accounting, public perception is completely disconnected from statistical reality. When a gas station generates $5 million in annual top-line revenue from fuel sales, the general public assumes the owner is taking home a massive six-figure fortune. But once you look through the lens of net profit margins, the illusion vanishes. After subtracting the wholesale rack price of fuel, credit card processing fees, which consume up to 3% of the total transaction size at the pump, daily energy utility bills, labor payroll, high-risk liability insurance, and government corporate taxes, the average independent gas station operates on a net profit margin of just 1.5 to 2.5%. This is one of the lowest net profit margins in the entire global retail ecosystem. To survive on a margin profile this thin, reaching the daily break-even point is a non-stop game of volume optimization. A standard independent station needs to pump an average of 2,000 to 4,000 gallons of fuel every single day just to cover its baseline fixed OpEx. If bad weather keeps commuters off the road, or if local construction blocks access to the corner lot, the station will quickly fall below its break-even line, losing thousands of dollars of working capital in a matter of hours. Furthermore, the independent gas station owner faces a terrifying legacy liability, environmental remediation debt. Under strict global environmental protection laws, underground storage tanks have a fixed operational lifespan of roughly 20 to 30 years. When these code-compliant tanks age, the risk of a microscopic fuel leak into the surrounding soil and water table increases exponentially. If a leak is discovered, the independent owner is legally and financially responsible for the cleanup costs, which can easily surpass $500,000 to $1 million, instantly wiping out decades of accumulated retail profits and pushing the business into forced bankruptcy. But the ultimate threat to the gas station economic blueprint isn't a leaking tank or a short-term oil price shock. It is a permanent structural shift in the global energy infrastructure, the electric vehicle transition. As multi-billion-dollar automotive manufacturers rapidly shift production away from internal combustion engines and toward battery-powered fleets, the core customer base of the gas station is systematically evaporating. Electric vehicle owners do not pull into a traditional pump lane to refuel. They recharge their vehicles at home, at work, or at dedicated highway charging superhubs. This structural evolution threatens the entire loss leader funnel. If drivers no longer need to stop for fuel, they have zero reason to walk through the convenience store doors, completely cutting off the high-margin beverage, snack, and fresh food revenue streams that keep the station alive. Independent operators are currently forced to make a massive strategic decision. Deploy heavy new capital to install expensive electric fast charging stations that cost up to $50,000 per plug, or risk obsolescence as the legacy fuel market slowly contracts over the next 2 decades. The economic blueprint of owning a gas station exposes a brilliant truth about modern commerce. The product that defines a business is rarely the product that makes it rich. A gas station is a masterclass in the psychology of the loss leader. It uses a highly transparent, hyper-commoditized, and essential energy product to capture your attention and dictate your driving route, only to monetize your biological cravings the moment you step inside their convenience store footprint. They stripped away the high-margin vanity of traditional retail and replaced it with a volume-driven logistics game that turns microscopic fractions of a cent into millions of dollars of cash flow, proving that in the modern global economy, true financial power belongs to those who control the gate to the consumer's daily routine. How much money did you spend the last time you pulled into a gas station? And did you buy a coffee, a snack, or an energy drink while your tank was filling up? Do you believe independent gas stations can successfully transition into profitable electric charging lounges? Or will the rise of electric vehicles completely wipe this iconic retail model off the global map? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Do not forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next deep dive corporate breakdown from BizBlueprint. We remain dedicated to uncovering the hidden cash flows and structural designs of the world's most complex business machines. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.